to see you, man. Thank you so much for your
What's
time.
up? What's up, PDP? I like the name.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's pretty crazy, man, because like with this movie, I feel like I watch a lot of these movies in this kind of realm and space. It's like in one regard it's about sports, in the other regard it's not about sports at all, right? And I'm curious if you think about that a lot with projects like this.
Yeah, yeah. I think I heard. I might be misquoting, but I think I heard Dennis say. I think the best. He said. I think the best sports movies are the ones that aren't about sports at all.
Well, I feel like it's so interesting because we're looking at a really important story here. We're looking at a story about self-reflection, about finding yourself, faith, and everything. And I feel like, you probably read it that, oh, baseball's involved, but like, are you really focused on the journey component of this character? Like, I feel like that's safe to say, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a story to tell here. I think when I first got the script and I discovered who Ricky was and his trials and tribulations in his life, I immediately was like, wow, how can I be a part of this? How can I bring this to life? This is an incredible story.
And, can you kind of talk a little bit more about like the research component of this? Because I feel like how much do you kind of know like before even kind of really getting into the meat and potatoes of working on the Hill specifically? Like, did you have to do a lot of research for this, or maybe you didn't want to do as much? Like, I'm just curious about that.
No, I mean, as far as research goes, I mean, I had the story, I had the script, so I was able to kind of take a look at the beginning, middle, and end, and able to digest and get into all that. I think to take a step back and to kind of look at, okay, well, when I first got attached to the film, it was I want to say 2019. I only weighed 120 pounds. I was gonna come and play this professional baseball player. I didn't even look like I could play baseball. So there was all these things that happened. The pandemic hit, and 2 years went by. Financing was lost, and then ultimately, refunded and found its way back onto starting in October 2021. And throughout that period of time, I actually gained 40, 50, 60 pounds, 180 pounds I was by the time we started filming. So there was a lot of things that had to take place, which I felt like was sort of this divine intervention. Like all these things had to take place in order for the film to be what it is today. So there was a lot of behind the scenes preparation that maybe I didn't even know was going to happen, but that took place before the film.
Do you find also, because you've done interviews for so many different projects that kind of have a lot of fans too, like you look at like Under the Dome, Daybreak, like, do you find it hard sometimes to like, because I'm a big fan of going in fresh for projects, you know what I mean? Like I'll be like, do you find it hard sometimes where you don't want to say certain things or like talk about certain things because I feel like the best things are when you go in fresh with them, to be honest with you, Colin.
Oh, for sure. I mean, well, I don't want to like spoil anything for anyone that has seen the movie and they're like, oh, well, now I don't have to go see it because now I know the whole thing. It's like, no, there's a it's a great story. If I say anything today that the people still go see the movie.
I'm gonna bring up like a question right now, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, I thought of a spoiler to bring up." Well, I do want to get back to the self-reflection component because when I watched The Hill, I feel like this was something I really kind of took from it, Colin, in regards to the fact that during the pandemic, there was 3 years where everyone was doing a lot of soul searching, figuring things out, going on a journey because, frankly, we had the time to do so. We were at home kind of literally doing that. You look at a movie like The Hill, and I feel like it becomes instantly more relatable to people, Colin, because of that self-reflection we did during the pandemic. So I'm just curious if you thought about that at all, because I feel like that's very important to kind of address as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, being, we were all cooped up for, like you said, 2, 3 years. And like, I think that people had a lot of goals and aspirations, things that they were in the middle of doing before the pandemic hit that they were kind of got roadblocked and then they weren't able to finish. And then ultimately it led to, like you just said, like a moment of rediscovery, like a moment of like, where do I go next from here? And I think that, if you take a look at some of the themes in our film of love, family, and perseverance, and all of those things, I think faith. I think that you take those things and you adapt them into your real life, and you go, okay, you take almost like an inventory of everything you have, and you say, okay, where do I want my life to go? What do I need to work on? I think that, like you said, people during the pandemic, were able to work on those things. But sometimes all it takes is going to the movies, seeing a film like this, and being inspired. So that's what I hope happens when people go see The Hill.
Colin Ford is a storyteller. That's what you do, basically. And is the best part about being a storyteller diving into all these different worlds, like diving into The Hill, diving into Daybreak, supernatural, underdog. Is that the best part of what you do, in your opinion?
I think so. I think so. Being like fully immersed and being empathetic and putting yourself in a character's shoes and just like you said, kind of like building this world. And for a period of time, when I go on a project, I'm not like a method actor or anything, but for a period of time, I very much try to like encapsulate that character until I'm done.
And I feel like it's two things, because you look at, it's like the worlds are different, but the characters are different. So every experience is going to be like a different kind of experience no matter what, because even if the character is similar to something you played in the past, the world and like the genre is different too, right?
Yeah, well, and like everybody goes through different things, so everybody has a different past. Everybody has different things in their life that they went through that ultimately made them the person that they are when we meet them on screen.
Yep. And last question before we wrap up, learning experiences, Colin, always interest me, because no matter whether you worked on a set once, whether you worked on a set 1,000 times, you're always going to learn something, whether it's because of the project, the people you're working on, the story that you're getting told. So with this movie, with The Hill, what were some learning experiences for Colin Ford specifically from a storytelling acting perspective?
That's a really great question. I think that, I learned a lot about myself. We were shooting in some pretty some pretty difficult conditions, just late nights and some cold weather and things like that. And I think I just learned a lot about myself and how much gas I had in my tank essentially, and how much I could do. And I think that I really surprised myself on nights when I thought like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really hard day. It's going to be a really challenging evening. I'm going to be so tired at the end of it. At the end of it, when I was like, oh, I got this. This is I'm excited. I'm here. I think that also a lot of like a lot of the energy that we had on this particular project, it provided for this like warmth and excitement that even if we were we're tired, we all wanted to be there and all wanted to get this done. So I think I just ultimately on this I learned what I was capable of.
That's really, really well said. Absolutely. And, The Hill's going to be in theaters August 25th, so they're going to be able to check that out. Colin, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for your time, and all the best.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.